Welcome. SolSeed Happy Hour, May 7th, 2020. Appreciate everyone who's logged in. And again, we will be putting this on YouTube where many people will see it as well. Today's topic is extending the life of your retreat. And if you've worked with SolSeed in any capacity, this is something that we've been discussing a lot and presenting to really every leader that works with us, because there are really a ton of good reasons to do it. Very few reasons not to, frankly. But we'll present some slides on why you would even bother. Just some real generic event best practices. These are little events generally that you're hosting. And then we'll talk about pre-retreat gatherings and post-retreat reunions, some differences between the two. And we'll touch on what is possible to do today in a remote environment versus in a more normal environment where you can have gatherings. So we'll kick it off with the benefits of extending the life of your retreat. First and foremost is it's fun. Hopefully you're really excited about your retreat, your unique offering, and the people that are coming or thinking about coming are excited about it too. So it's a really fun way to really breathe life into the retreat, so that it's not just 7 days on the calendar, 5 days on the calendar, but in fact it's an ongoing thing that spreads out over months or years. Another big reason for doing, both the things we're going to talk about is it's a really effective sales tool. There's a lot that can be said on that, and the different sort of time frames. There's different things you can do to help promote your retreat. But bringing people together before and after is a really effective way to just generally grow your retreat business. It's a wonderful way to codify your retreat community. If you've led just one, or you're about to lead your first one, or whatever it might be, generally, most of the people are going to be from, one geographic area. And it helps them to come together and realize that they are in this community, and that, that it's not just going to be the retreat. If you've led multiple retreats, then you've got people that have been to Mexico with you, but not to Costa Rica, or been to Portugal, but not to Morocco. And it's really neat to bring them all together. They're going to be very similar people. And that's a great way to cross-pollinate between trips. But also, and again, for the final point here, that's a lot of the value that you're providing. You're creating community. You're curating community. You're helping people in your community get to know other people with whom they share like interests, traveling, fitness, whatever it is that you might program your retreat around. And in general, you're certainly, you're profiting from your retreat business, and this is a really low cost way and fun way to provide additional value to the overall experience. And why go on your retreat versus another one? A real easy answer is whenever I retreat with SolSeed, for example, there's going to be some socials and some reunions, and I get invited to more stuff, and they've done the work to organize and execute those. So it's a valuable thing. All right, let's start with some real generic event best practices. Really, I mean, this can apply to really any event, but we'll keep the focus on the fitness retreat model here. You'll want to have some thoughtful timing. By that, I mean, if you're doing a pre-retreat gathering, you'll want to put that far enough in advance of the retreat that people aren't, trying to pack their bags the night before. You don't hold your pre-retreat gathering the night before your retreat, right? You give it some space. And if it's on the back end, then perhaps you give enough time for, people to want to see each other again, but not so long that they are sort of out of touch with everything. So there's, it's more art than science, I would say, but a little bit of thought put into it in advance never hurts. We find it's really nice to create a theme. It's really quite simple, really. If you're doing a retreat internationally, it can be a theme, a Costa Rica theme. You could do some Lozano salsa and rice and beans, or a Guatemala theme, and try to get some Guatemalan coffee or chocolate or whatever it might be. But you're naturally having this theme in place that it's about the retreat, so it's nice to sort of step it up a little and put a little bit more thought into it. It's important to find a location suitable for the people that you're going to have. This can be done really, really affordably. You could use a park that everyone can come to for free. You could lead a hike. It's a free path in the woods. If you have a good relationship with the studio or a studio owner, you use your studio and host a class and then have a little meet and greet in the studio, right in the studio space. So be thoughtful about your location. I mean, we've certainly done them in the past at a new bar, restaurant, brewery, something like that. It's you're adding value by introducing them to a new cool part of your community, and bringing them to a place they might not have gone to, or a place they meant to go. Oh, I want to check it out, etc. All of that sort of funnels into providing some value. So you're going to be extracting information and value from this exercise. And it's important to sort of, energetically provide that back as well. And there are lots of little ways that you can do that. There could be a fitness class associated with it. You could have a goodie bag. If it's a pre-retreat and there's a book or a passage out of a book or something you want everyone to sort of ruminate on before coming, you can bring that and hand that out. It's worth your investment, and it's not a big investment generally. The most that we've ever really personally put into, when say Kristen's running her own retreat, has been a few rounds of appetizers at a new restaurant that's opened up. Everyone does their own cash bar thing, but it gives people a reason to come to that class and then spend the extra time, and not have it, whatever. People are busy. There's lots of options usually in life, and so giving them like a little bit of additional value, it goes a really long way in getting people to come in. Next, it's really important to promote it across all of your channels, sort of broadly. You want to bring in, well, particularly on a pre-retreat thing, you want to bring in as many people as might, be interested in coming. But it's also, important to invite people personally. Anyone that's signed up for the retreat already, if it's beforehand, everyone that went, if it's afterwards. And it's very important as well to manage RSVPs. And this is really, how you're going to gather the information that allows you to stay in contact with your community, eventually get them on another trip, or, follow up with them if they were showing some interest and had some additional questions. So it is important to have some sort of RSVP system. This can be done free through a lot of online platforms. You could do a Google form, an Eventbrite with, there's all different ways it can be done, but it is important to do. Next, this is one that people often will overlook, but we find it to be very, very valuable. It circles back to providing some value as well. But to have some form of promotion prepared for the gathering. So if it's a pre-retreat gathering, a promotion that is, we will have an entire happy hour on effective promotions and discounting to sell and that kind of stuff, and the do's and don'ts and what to look out for. But there's usually a promotion you can wrap around for attendance, and it can be small, creative, etc. But it makes people feel like they've gained something by coming, and it gives you a good reason to reach out and follow up afterwards as well. Next, it's important to work these events. So it's fun, and you're going to have the work of organizing it and whatnot, but when you're there, it's very important to be established as you're here because I've invited you. I want you to make connections. I want you to learn this information about a trip. And there's all different ways that you can do that, whatever feels comfortable and natural to you. But being prepared, going into it saying, I am going to work this. It's not just an opportunity for me to talk with a long lost friend and drink a couple beers. I need to speak with everybody. I need to thank them all for coming. I need to let them know what they're going to receive from me as a result of being here. And just, comport yourself in a professional manner. And last but not least, follow-up. There should always be a follow-up, depending on what the event is. That will vary. But, I personally like handwritten notes. People don't do them anymore. Those tend to go a really long way. But it could really be any form of follow-up just to, reinstate this is why you came and this is what's going to happen next. Yep. All right, I'm going to pass the floor.
Okay, so a couple of types of gatherings. First one we're going to talk about is pre-retreat gatherings. So the focus of your pre-retreat gathering should be really on the sales, right? Because you're trying to fill that trip that's coming up. So inviting registered participants, that's something obviously you're going to want to do. And then you'll want to encourage them to bring a plus one. So maybe it's their partner, maybe it's a friend of theirs, anybody who they think would be interested in being part of this experience that you're going to be providing. Once the event is going, it's really important to facilitate introductions. So like Ian was talking about working the event, you want to walk around the room, you want to say hello to everyone, and then you want to be a really good host and introduce people to one another. So like, hey, this is Evan, he came to Guatemala, you came to Guatemala too the year after, you guys have something in common. So just introduce your participants, get them chatting, get them socializing.
We've even seen like actual sit downs at these events that resemble almost like an opening circle.
Yeah.
And those have been very effective as well. And that's I'm so-and-so, I'm registered, I live here.
This
my
is
favorite
why I'm
place.
Excited to go.
This is why I'm excited to go. A fun game, if it's international retreat, is like the craziest place I've ever been, or the one place on my bucket list, a little icebreaker. Again, it's going to be whatever sort of fits you naturally and comes organic. And the set and setting will certainly speak to that. If it's in your studio and you can control the environment, that's a little bit easier to facilitate than if you're at a new brewery that just opened and it's a little bit more chaotic.
Right.
So there are a lot of ways to accomplish it, but it should be on your checklist. Am I facilitating introductions, and how?
Yep. In terms of whatever your offering is going to be to the group, if it's in a more informal setting like a bar or a restaurant, then maybe just a postcard that talks about your future trip, special promo code that people can use if they came to the event. We've also done these events where it's people that are coming on the trip and a few of the interested folks, and like Ian said, everyone sits in a circle. You do some FAQs about the trip. So there's really different ways that you can kind of put this together. Just really depends on what you want the theme and the goal of it to be. But there should be some sort of offering, so some sort of takeaway that they can take home with them, think about, and give them a reason to want to come back and come on your trip. And then, as Ian touched upon, always should be some sort of follow-up. So for a pre-retreat gathering, one thing that I've done in the past is give some sort of a special promo code for attendees of the gathering. So maybe it's save $200 off your deposit when you register by next Friday. Give them a timeline, give them an amount, give them a reason to register now and not drag their feet.
But it's very important that you do make a formal presentation of the retreat at these pre-retreat gatherings. It may feel a little silly, but you could hit a glass as though you were going to give a toast and be like, thank you all for coming. We are here to just, because I'm organizing this retreat. I just want to make sure you guys all remember that it is here on these dates.
Right.
And you raise your hand if you're already signed up, something that is like, no one leaves being like, what were you there for?
Exactly. Yeah, so giving them a reason, and you don't want it to sound like too formal, like a sales pitch, but you want it to be fun. But yes, it should have a purpose and point. All right, so moving on to post-retreat reunions and gatherings. So these are really fun. The focus should definitely be on your community, right? The people who just came to Guatemala with you or Morocco with you, wherever you went. It could be a reunion specific to a trip that you just ran or ran several months ago, or it could be a gathering of all people that have come on your retreats in the past. So I've done both, and they're both really fun. In this climate right now where we can't all physically be in the same space, having a Zoom reunion is super fun. We actually recently had one for a Guatemala trip we ran. We had one for a Colombia trip that we were a part of in January. And it's just so nice to see everybody on that screen connecting. Again, it can have a theme, right? It could be a happy hour. You can all bring your favorite cocktail. We had actually a Cinco de Mayo one. So anything to get people together.
Yeah, bring your favorite little thing that you purchased on the trip.
Yes,
talk about it,
Absolutely. Wear your favorite thing from Guatemala that you bought at the Weaving Collective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Give people something to talk about besides what everybody is talking about right now.
Give them something happy to focus on.
Yeah.
So yeah, you could go two different routes with that. Again, really important, facilitate the introductions. If there are people there This is more for if it's a VIP gathering versus a reunion of a certain trip, right? If it's a reunion of a certain retreat, they all should already know each other. If not, do the introductions. It's super important. And then another thing that I like to weave into my gatherings is future location polls. So you can do it in a more formal way where you have a whiteboard and a bunch of different locations you're considering for a future trip, and just have people kind of check off where they're excited to go next with you. Or you can do it in more of a conversation where you just kind of talk about it in individual conversations with people. This is more of a like mingling event. You're also definitely going to want to follow up. So, send an email, send a message, however you want to do it, but thank them for coming, discuss future events that you might be putting together, future reunions and gatherings, and then of course plug your discount codes, your VIP offerings. So, hey, I've got this retreat coming up in the fall. Since you guys came to this special gathering, this special reunion, I'm going to offer you this one-time promo code that expires, at the end of the month. So give them a reason to keep coming back. Anything you want to add?
No.
All right.
All right. So that's it. I think we actually got it in under 15 minutes this time. So that's good.
Yay, us.
And for the YouTube folks, when we do upload this, join us next week, and we'll go through something else.
See what
and
we're
for
talking about
now,
then.
we're going to just open up the floor to discussion. See if there are any examples in the audience of events that they've run for their retreats, any good ideas that we haven't shared, or I don't know. We'll see where it takes us.
If you have any questions.
I have a question. I've been wanting to do a Zoom, facilitate a Zoom reunion for our Guatemala retreat.
Yeah.
However, because we did a small San Diego one before all of this, most of our people were not in San Diego. It was just kind of a handful of them. So I want to do a Zoom one, and everyone keeps asking me to, but when I think about facilitating a Zoom call with 33 people, it gives me full-blown anxiety. We've all been a part of them where it's just like mayhem. There's so much feedback. Do you suggest for it to be a more formal, okay, this person's on mute, one person's unmuted one at a time, and you go around like a circle and share? How do you feel like it's best to facilitate that?
I think that if you have sort of the word game keeps coming to mind, but I think that having sort of a theme or let's talk about our one favorite thing that we did and let's keep it to 30 seconds, and as the facilitator, absolutely sort of managing the mute, unmute thing so that people don't get stepped on, that they get their 30 seconds or whatever. But again, being conscious that with 30 people, that's a 15-minute practice. Mm-hmm. And I think, I guess the only sort of real experience we have with that recently would be for Kristen's sister who got married over Zoom a few weeks back. Yeah. And it was like two families that didn't really know each other and 45 people. Yeah. And it was 88-year-olds and 22-year-olds. So it was like people that totally understood how to manage and use this, and people that didn't get it whatsoever. And there's definitely a challenge to that. But I think that the facilitator using the tools the right way would be good.
Yeah. Megan just brought up a good point that, have them use the chat box if you want to have them ask questions. And another thing I was thinking was you could have them all go around like you did in your opening circle. You could propose some sort of question or hey, we're going to go around one by one, maybe give us an update of where you are, what you're doing, how you're feeling, or if there's a theme, there could be a question that you put out there to them. And maybe it's bring your favorite item from Guatemala and you want to talk about this memory, or you want to show and tell something, and everyone gets their minute so that it's, not dragging out too long, but like you said, that's not just a shit show of everyone talking over one another.
Interestingly, we are in the early stages right now of working with Freddie and the Women's Cooperative at Casa de las Tejadas on how we can do a virtual, what would you call it, like chest show or something like that?
Yeah, like a trunk show.
Like a virtual trunk show for everyone that's visited them through us in some way, and give people the opportunity to support that collective through purchasing some of their goods.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we're sort of still working through how would we ever manage that with like 75 people trying to do it at once. And I think breaking it up is going to be important. And 33 is a big number, so I don't know.
I was also wondering if maybe it makes sense to do like, all right, here's the Florida crew. There's 6 or 7 of them. The San Diego crew. There's 9 of them. The New York, like the Northeast crew. But then I'm like, it kind of defeats the purpose of everyone.
Yeah, and they all, like, everyone came together as such a wonderful kind of family. So I feel like everyone would want to be a part of it if they can.
Or maybe give a couple time slot. Be like, we're doing it this day and that day, and hope maybe that breaks it up.
Yeah.
My experience as well has been that the crazy talking over each other is sort of this original, this like excitement at the beginning of everyone being there.
Yeah.
But it does sort of simmer down relatively quickly. And, you know, you just kind of have to get through that frustrating zone. I think that's where if you sort of
You got to moderate
had a moderated idea in mind, like this is what I'm going to do. Everyone come prepared with this. Anyone who would like to share can raise their hand. Maybe don't make everybody participate, but, you know, also like you're only likely to get probably 25, maybe 20, especially with the challenges of scheduling people across Pacific time up to Eastern time. Yeah. But I'd say go for it and invite me.
Okay, yeah, you guys will be on there. Like, I want to be like,
party over here.
I know.
Like start the call like 15 minutes before and just be like, it's a pre-call party, so you guys can get all of your conversations out before, and then literally at 4 o'clock on the dot, I'm muting all of you all, and we're gonna go over like what I sent you, the questions that you know are circle questions, or we're gonna whatever.
Yeah,
so
that's a great idea.
You can just open it up so that people can sign on. You don't even have to be at your computer. You can just like, because I've been on like a lot of masterminds where there's like, you know, 300 people on there, and like she'll just be like playing music in the background, and like she'll be like, you know, hey guys, just like type in the chat where you're from, whatever, and then like, you know, because you can do private chats as well. So if there's like people that want to have like a private chat or whatever.
Yeah, I was going to mention that too, because I know with Zoom there's a feature where you can do like breakout rooms and smaller groups of people. I actually personally haven't used it. Have you used it, Megan? Have you done it?
Oh no, I'm like holding hands with technology. Type of relationship. Like literally I created this Canva template for my guest artists that I'm bringing in for my next virtual retreat, so that they can just like drag and drop their headshot and like enter their information and just send me a copy of it. And I'm like, first of all, how the fuck do I like share this with them? So I like saved it and sent it in a PNG file. But then my business coach was like, no, you need to go on Canva, and at the top where it says share, click share, and then like share it with their email address, and then tell them to make a copy of it before they edit it. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Technology, man. Yeah, we're still learning the ins and outs of Zoom, but I do think there's a way that you can do different little breakout rooms. So that would be a cool thing that you explore, Kelly, if you get all 30 of them on a call, you know, to have little rooms like.
Yeah, like people can go off into there. I was on a call recently where they had that. I've never facilitated with it, but I know it's a capability. We'll see if my account lets me. That's a really good idea.
I know they'll be appreciative no matter what, even if it is a total disaster. They'll just like to see each other, you know?
Yeah, like, we did a family one on Easter with like a bunch of relatives, including like 90-year-olds, and it was pretty much just everyone yelling, hi, and waving, and everyone loved it. They were like, oh, it was so good to see everyone. So yeah, to Ian's point, it doesn't like,
meanwhile I'm like,
be happy to see each other. Yeah, exactly.
Turn my video off real quick and like
yeah, but that's a great question. I'm trying to think, there was something else we were gonna discuss. Or maybe promotional material.
Kristen, I don't know why, but I can't hear you very well.
No.
yeah, you're a little quiet.
Huh.
Do you guys collect?
I guess I got to project one.
Yeah. I got about halfway through handwritten letters, maybe, I don't know, a month ago. I was like doing handwritten follow-ups. And then I realized I didn't have anyone's address. And I sent an email being like, well, everyone give me their address. And like 4 people responded. So I was wondering if there's, I don't know what that system you use is called, but like, does it capture their addresses in that when they register?
We don't.
Yeah, we personally don't, but if you are using WeTravel and running your own trip, you can collect addresses. You can collect whatever information you want when they sign up.
Okay.
We just make it easier, less fields to fill out.